Well, good morning, everyone. My, we do have some early birds here. Okay, so let's see who's in the chat here. Okay. Hello, Courtney. Hey, Cam. Lori M. Hello, Nancy. Nancy Guess is here. Let's see. Pearl, good morning from Moreno Valley. So we got Milster Morton, good morning to you. And Courtney Sturpens, hello. Oh, we already said Courtney, hello again. Janet Miller, good morning to you too. Good morning, Marianne. Good morning, Kathleen. Good morning, Melissa. Hi, Marie. Janice is getting her coffee. I got mine here. It'll be my elixir for this morning, because boy, do I need it. Well, good morning, Carla. How are you, my happy neighbor? Hey, Robin. Good morning, Tracy. Well, there's a lot of you up this morning. All right. Good morning, Damali. Okay, I hope I didn't miss anybody. Hey, all day. Good morning, Dale from Australia. Hi, Polly. Okay. If I missed you, I'm terribly sorry. This chat is kind of scrolling a little fast on me today. Well, good morning to everybody. I was trying to think about what to make this morning. Ooh, that is hot. Courtney, I did catch a little bit of it, but I figured it was an April Fool, so I kind of clicked off of it. But they always do that every year, and this time I was not going to fall for that April Fool's video. Good morning, Paula. Okay, my hair is a bit off. Can you tell? Okay, so what are we making today? So I figured today let's actually make another, instead of making a wreath, we're going to make an ornament, an Easter themed ornament using these fabrics here that I found. I actually found this fat quarter at Hobby Lobby, and I thought, okay, I can use it for Easter, or I can just put it in my stash. So surprisingly, there is no Easter themed fabric, and I searched high and low for something, but this is the closest I could get to it. So at least it's kind of pastel or pastel-y colors. That's sort of Easter, right? And I'm gonna probably be putting this ornament into a wreath. So let's see. Hey, Bettina, welcome to the live. So thank you, Carla, commenting on the quilt on the wall. This is the Missouri Star Three Dudes quilt pattern that they did, which inspired last week's quilt block. Was it last week? Oh gosh, my timing is all off. Okay. So now, sometime during this live, I'm not going to exactly say when, but where is it? Here it is. Okay, so this Easter wreath. So this wreath was one that I made for a friend, but she ended up not wanting it because she wanted a different sign. And she didn't like the gnome, which she didn't tell me. So I'm actually going to give this one away sometime today. So when the time comes, actually, you know what, I should open it up and get this done with. So what you can do is in the chat box, and this will only be for people who are on this live, what you can do is if you want to enter into the giveaway, we're going to run this for, let's see. Okay, as the chat bot has just given you instructions, you can type in exclamation giveaway and that'll enter you into a chance to win this wreath if you want it. Because I don't. And I was a little shocked that my friend did not want it, so. Okay. Okay, so I know the chat is going to go crazy because people are now entering the giveaway. Now, if you don't see the chat bot recognizing you that you have entered, please type in the exclamation enter again. Sometimes when so many people are going on, or so many people are typing, the chat bot is not able to pick up on you. So if you want to make sure that you're entered into the giveaway, just keep typing that exclamation enter and make sure that you do see the chat bot recognize your entry. So that's okay. So let's get started making our ornament. I'll probably stick this ornament on that particular wreath somewhere, if I can make space. If not, I'll put it on another wreath. Or if not, I'll ship it to whoever wins that wreath separately. So to make this ornament, I'm using a 3-inch styrofoam ball here. And you can find these a ball like this at any craft store. They usually come in a pack of 6. Now, it does not have to be exactly 3 inches. You can be roughly 3 inches. I mean, this one is actually 2.98 inches in diameter. But as long as it's close to 3 inches, you're good. Okay, of course, you're going to need a couple of fabric, or whatever fabric you use. Now, a fat quarter size you'll be able to make about 5 or 6 of them, so you don't need that large of a fabric. In fact, for this particular ornament, I'm probably only going to use a size like this here. But so one fat quarter will actually make you a number of different ornaments. Okay, but if you want variety, of course, you can choose whichever fabrics you want to use. Okay. You'll need a pen. Of course, you'll need a rotary cutter. Now, this rotary cutter is not my regular fabric rotary cutter because I'm going to be cutting up some paper here. Just use like a junk or a rotary cutter that has an old blade. You don't want to necessarily use the blade that you use for your regular fabric cutting. You'll need some type of box cutter or X-Acto knife. Let me move this out of the way. So I got a variety of box cutters and I do have an X-Acto knife here. What you're going to be using this for is to actually carve the styrofoam ball. Then Of course, you're going to need a pen to do some markings on the styrofoam ball. And you'll need a bunch of embellishments. Now, I got some trim here, or this is actually cording. I do have these beads, which I may or may not use. I'm not sure how this is going to work. And I have a bunch of ribbon here to where I'm going to use it to make a bow. This might be a little too thin to make a bow, but I may make a bow. I might not. I might actually use this as just trim, and you'll see when I start embellishing it. Now, you'll need a strip of paper. This strip is, it doesn't have to be exact. This is just going to be like a measuring tool for when we start marking the ball. Now, this is about an inch to maybe 3/4 of an inch to 11 inches. Okay, but this does not have to be exact. Again, what we're going to be using this for is to actually do some measurements around the ball. Okay, I mentioned the fabric. Now, you're going to need a piece of cardboard. I'm just using this mailer here, or this advertisement thing that I got in the mail. You need a piece of cardboard or something where it's like cardstock, where it's a little thicker and a little bit more sturdy, but kind of pliable, so you can kind of cut through it a lot more easier. And we're going to be making a template out of this to make this shape here. Okay, so this was an old piece that was left over from when I was doing some Christmas ornaments. And so this is the shape that we're going to be kind of cutting from this. Okay, so let's first start with making our template. So what you want, again, we're going to be making a template to cut out this shape out of our fabric. So this is, I forgot the measurements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5 by 2. Okay, so we're going to cut a strip that is 5.5 inches long by 2 inches wide out of this cardboard thing. So let me grab a ruler. So I'm going to just trim this at 2 inches. Bye, Mary. And we'll go 5 inches. Let's just go 5.5. Let me turn it that way. Okay, so I cut it down to 2 inches by about 5.5 inches here. And from here, I just want to eyeball where the center is, or you can mark it actually on this edge here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. So it's about here. About there. Then if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About here and about here. Or I could have actually just folded this in half, pinched it there. Why didn't I think of this? Don't ask me. Maybe it's too early for me in the morning. so at those markings or at the folded line, what I want to do then is just gonna eyeball like a curve to make that kind of leaf shape here. Doesn't have to be exact, so because there is a very generous seam allowance on this, and we might end up cutting off the extra. So I'm just kind of eyeballing a curve from that center to the center on the edge. Yeah, maybe I do need more coffee there, Robin. Sauce. Okay. Speaking of which, cheers. Okay, so we'll take our scissors. And again, this right here is my mixed media scissors. I just cut anything with this. I don't care. I usually don't cut fabric with it though. Or it's not my quilting scissors, I should say. And we're just going to cut out that shape. Okay. Again, this is just a template. The template does have somewhat of a seam allowance, and so this does not have to be exact. In fact, none of this really has to be, or this is one of those crafts where it is kind of forgiving. It's not like quilting where it has to be precision. That around my neck. Okay. Already, wow. Let me check the battery because it says it's going out. Okay, so we got our template here. And is it big enough? Oh, it's way bigger. Okay, that's a good thing. Okay. Now let's take our other strip of paper here. I'm going to fold it in half. Well, actually, first of all, let's measure it. And so on these styrofoam balls, they usually have what is called, I'm not sure if you can see that. Let's see. There's usually this center line here. Okay. People often refer to that as the equator, where it's the middle of the two halves. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take this strip of paper and I'm going to wrap it around sort of on that, or not really on the equator, but sort of make sure that the edges go next to the equator. We're going to wrap it, and when we come back to the starting point, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure it overlaps just a little bit, and we're going to mark where it ends, so right there. So basically what I did was I wrapped it around, got this circular shape, and right here where I folded, that's where it's ending. It's overlapping maybe about 1 centimeter or 2, but I'm going to cut that excess off. Okay. I'll take the strip, fold it in half once. I'll take the strip, fold it in half twice. And I'll take the strip again, and I'm going to fold it in half one more time, but instead of just taking the two sides and folding it like that, I'm actually going to take the side with the two flaps here. I'll fold this one down, fold that one down. And we unfold it. And what we should have is a strip that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts to it. And so to make it so that you guys can see it on camera, I'm going to just draw these lines to where the fold marks are. Was that right? There's another one there. There's one here. Then one here, here, and here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hello, for those of you who came in late, a little later. I do see that everybody's entering into the giveaway. That's great, because I need to give away that wreath. I was about to say get rid of, but I don't really want to get rid of it. I want to give it to someone who's going to appreciate it. So, okay, so I'm taking that strip, and I'm going to wrap it around the ball here. Again, not really putting that piece of, or not really putting the strip on that equator. I'm kind of lining up the edges next to the equator. Right, like that. I don't know if the camera can pick it up. So my equator's right here, and I'm trying to get that piece of paper as close to there, or the edge of the paper close to there. And what you do is, using the markings that are on that strip, I can start measuring. So here is one marking. There's the other. There's another one there. And what we're going to do is we're going to section off this styrofoam ball into 8 different sections here. There's another one. There's one. And final one is here. Okay, so your styrofoam should look something like this. In fact, something went wrong with that one. I think I went a little bit off. Let's see. There. And there. Okay. Okay, we got one section that's a little bit off. Why is that? So I can eyeball that. Now, when you do have a section that's a little bit off, like how I marked this one, it's a little close to here, but it's not as, it's a little further between these two. I can cross that one out and just eyeball it at that point. That's a little better. Okay. Now, also on most of these styrofoam balls, there's a marking that looks like that. Okay. This marks the very top of the ball. There's a separate marking. It's maybe not as clear on the camera, but it's actually right there. I'm not sure. There, the light can kind of catch it. But this spot right there, that's the very bottom of the styrofoam ball. And so you want to identify those two marks, because what you're going to be doing is now, let's take our strip, let's line it up on the center, or the center of the top. We're going to make sure that the edge passes through one of our markings here, and we're going to line up the edge of the strip Let me do that again. Making sure it passes through the marking there, and then lining it up with the bottom. So here's the top. I'm gonna kind of eyeball where the center is. Whoops. Let's just do half of it for now. And again, putting the edge of the strip of paper, kind of eyeballing where the center of the top is, just drawing a line down to where this point that you marked on the equator is. Okay, just make it as straight as you possibly can. Nobody said I was straight. Oh, I forgot this is live, so I can't be saying stuff like that. And so you can either just do half of the ball and then mark the other half when you're ready to, or you can be brave and just do the entire thing all at once. So I'm gonna do half, because I can't seem to fidget very well today. Let's see, where is it? Whoops, it keeps popping out on me. There we go. Okay, do the next one. And this one looks like I can actually get it in one swipe. Oh, didn't catch it there. And we'll get this one. Oh. If it goes a little bit off, don't worry about that. Yeah, I wish I did have a third hand sometimes, Nancy. Okay. And we're gonna mark this one. Oh, that one went off, so I'll adjust that line. Okay, if you have a tape measure, it's actually easier with the tape measure. In fact, I don't know where mine was this morning. Okay, what you could also do is, if you don't want to measure it out like this, sometimes if I'm in a hurry and I need to make a lot of these, whoops, that one went off. What I usually do is I'll find a rubber band, and I'll usually attach the rubber band or wind the rubber band around the ball, mark it wherever that rubber band is, and then just kind of move the rubber band and section it off into quarters, and then split the quarters into halves. That also works too. My nose is runny this morning. Okay, I'll split this one, draw that, then come back and then draw this one. Whoop. And I totally drew that on the wrong line, so I'll redo this one because I marked it wrong. Okay. Okay, if you make mistakes in your markings, don't worry about it so much. Unless you got a white fabric, then worry. But usually if you got a print fabric like this, it's going to cover up all of your mistake markings. So just don't worry about that. Just make sure that when you do, because we're going to be actually carving out right on those lines. So when you do start carving your lines on the styrofoam ball, just make sure that you're following the right one, not the incorrect one. Okay, and then I'll just do these last two quickly. This. Whoops, that one went crooked, but that's okay. And final one here. Oh, that went off. There we go. So we got our ball kind of sectioned off into 8 parts here. Okay. Don't remember that part being so difficult as it was, but of course this is live, so everything is 10 times more difficult. Okay. So now we can cut through. I don't want to use this one. Where's the box cutter? Okay, we're going to take our knife here. Then we're going to start kind of carving out right on the line. And be careful, trying not to cut your own self, but you want to cut the styrofoam. And just cut it about a 1/4 inch deep, maybe a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch deep, right on the markings that you just put on the ball. Okay, and just cut each section. Just do this carefully because you don't necessarily want to just jerk it and accidentally cut yourself. In fact, notice that when I'm holding it, since I'm right-handed, I'm holding the blade and in my right hand, but my left hand stays on this side. And when I turn the ball, not the knife. So then we can do, got that one. Did we do this one? No. Oh, yep, we did. Okay, next one. And we're just kind of cutting it right through all the way. And this does not have to be exactly on the line. It can be a little bit off. Again, this is not one of those crafts where precision counts. Okay, then, so that was, and sometimes it's hard to tell which one you just cut. Yeah, there we go. I think it's this one that we do. all 4 of them? I believe so. Okay, let me catch up on some comments here. Gloria, you don't necessarily have to be present when you win, but just make sure that you do catch the replay, because I'm gonna be giving out my email later, in which you do have to email me a message to state or to give me your address so I know where to mail it to. But I understand people got obligations on Saturdays. But as long as you're entered in here, and if by chance you do win, just make sure you do catch the replay later, so that you can kind of find out if in fact you did win. And and then you'll see the email of where I need you to send me a message for. Okay, so what I'm doing is, this is actually, I'm calling this a tucking tool, but this is actually a painter's palette knife. Usually painters will use something like this to actually mix their paints with. And I'm using this to sort of widen the gap, or make the cut that you just did on the styrofoam ball a little bigger. This will help you later on when we start actually doing or placing our fabrics on here. So there. Okay, so I'm just going over the cuts that we just made and just kind of widening the cut up. So there we go. Okay, and this is also a second step or a checkpoint to make sure that we did cut on all of these lines here, because sometimes you really can't tell. Okay, if you don't have one of these palette knives, of course you can pick one of these up at craft stores like Michael's has these. I know Hobby Lobby has these, and it usually comes with a handle, but the handle broke off on mine because I've been using it so much. If you don't have one of these, if you have like an upholstery needle, that'll work, where you can actually just kind of stick the point of the needle and just kind of widen up the gaps here. I would refrain from using something like an X-Acto knife, or even a thicker embroidery needle, that'll work too. You just want something kind of thin and somewhat flat so that you can actually get into the ball there. Now, a butter knife, I used to use it, but that tends to be a little too thick. Okay, so we have our ball. It's all marked out, but it'll look fine when we get done. Okay, looks like the chat bot has gotten all the entries in. So let's find out who our winner is. Polly, yes, a letter opener would also work. That's a good one. I didn't think of that. Okay, so Gloria Mars, congratulations. You are the winner of this Easter wreath. Gloria, I'll be sending this out to you. Congratulations, you have won. Okay, so what I need from you, Gloria, is I'll be typing in my email address, which I'll do that now. It's okay, so Gloria, I'll need you to send me an email message to the email that I just posted on the chat. Congratulations, though. We'll be mailing this to you, and I just need to get your mailing address from there. On there. Whoops, that got caught. Okay. So congratulations, Gloria. Or if you are a member of the Treasure Heart Creations Facebook group, send me a instant message on there. But congratulations, Gloria. Okay. So now taking our leaf, I'm going to call this the leaf template for now. Move that to the side. What I'm going to do is, I didn't even iron this fabric, which you don't necessarily have to for this, but what I'm going to do is just place this onto the fabric here, and I'm just going to mark it with a pen. And this does not have to be one of those disappearing ink pens. You can just do it with a regular pen, because you're going to be cutting on that line. And maybe, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll do 2 of these. Okay. And I'm just going to somewhat freehand cut this. This does not have to be exact. If you're not comfortable cutting like this, don't do it. But if you're okay with it, it's okay to do. And I'm surprised this blade is sharp enough to go through this fabric. Well, as soon as I say that, I get a problem, of course. And now I just did a kind of rough cut. Now I'm going to cut it right on the marking. So trim it like there. Trim this off. We'll cut that part off there. And I'm going to cut this part, or cut this one off. Now you could cut this with your regular scissors if you're more comfortable with that. I just find cutting it like this to be a lot quicker. I don't think I got through that spot there. So we got 2 pieces here. Hello, Elizabeth. Thanks for joining. Okay, now what we're going to do with these pieces is, this is where we kind of lay it down on one of our sectioned off sections here. And usually what I'll do is I'll hold it here at the bottom, hold it there at the top, and just make sure that the fabric is overlapping where the cuts are. I'll take the tool, the tucking tool, and I will find where the cut is and just kind of tuck the fabric edges right into that spot. Okay, and all the while I'm holding the top and the bottom down, and I usually find where the middle spot is and start from there and then work my way out to the top and bottom. Okay, and so once it's kind of firm in there, I can let go of the top and bottom and then just start working my way down. And I got it in. Now when there's a lot of excess like this, okay, you don't have to tuck the whole thing in there. Just get as much as you can in there. The whole point to this is that you don't want the fabric kind of coming out like that. So you do want to get it so that it's somewhat gonna stay in there. Okay. But when there's a lot of excess like this, I can take my snips, just kind of lift it up a little bit and trim it off. Like that, or just get a scissors. Embroidery scissors will do. Some small snips will also do, and you're just cutting off the excess there. Then I can tuck in the rest of that and hide that in the seam. There. Trim that part off. Bye, Robin. Thanks for stopping by. There we go. So we got our first section on. There. Now we'll do the same thing with all these. Let's see. Do I want to do blue? I'll definitely want to incorporate that. Pink. Do I want to do the blue, or do I want to do, let's see, or do I want to just do all 5 of these? It'll be a multicolored ornament here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do the yellow next. No, let's do the pink. No, maybe the green. I can't make up on my own. Let's just do the yellow. So same thing. Gonna just open this up. And where is my template now? I just lost it. Oh, there it is. Mark it on the fabric. And I'll do 2 of these. will make it a very multicolored ornament. Okay. Well, this time I'm actually just going to cut this one out so I don't have to trim it down, or I don't have to rough cut it, or just to show you that you can use your scissors for this. And I'm going to cut this piece off right there. You know, go through your fabric stash to see what pieces are big enough to actually make. If you want to make an ornament like this, just go through your fabric stash. You don't necessarily have to buy new fabric. Well, of course, not like we need excuses to buy new fabric, but this would be a perfect excuse for that. But just go through your scrap bin and see what fabrics you got. Maybe you can make an ornament for whatever theme or whatever holiday you want to. Of course, Christmas time is when everybody's asking me to make these ornaments for them. In fact, last year I had to do about 6 dozen of these just for Christmas gifts for people. But thanks to my mother, she volunteered me to make them for her friends. Okay, so this piece we're gonna put on right next to the purple there. Okay. Normally, when I do this, I would have all of these fabric pieces kind of cut up before I start tucking it in like this. But because we're on a live, I wanted to actually make sure that you guys do see how I tuck in the fabric. And there's going to be a lot of excess here. And also too, when I normally do this ornament, it takes me about maybe 45 minutes to make one. Maybe half an hour if I have everything all prepped. And I usually do this in stages where I do, okay, I'll take all my styrofoam balls and I'll mark it and cut it. Then I'll take all the fabrics and cut out those pieces, and then usually it takes about a half an hour to maybe 20 minutes to actually do all of this fabric tucking at that point. So although this seems to take a long time, it actually doesn't once you get used to it. Cut all that excess off there. But since I know this is actually going to go on a wreath, I may not even do the entire ball, or I might just actually do 3/4 of it. Of course, if this were going on something like a Christmas tree where the ornament's gonna hang off of something, of course you want to do the entire thing. But since I know that, again, I'm gonna use this ornament as an embellishment on a particular wreath, I don't necessarily need to decorate the entire thing because the back half of it is just going to be hidden within the wreath. So that, okay, so got that one all tucked in. Will you show us how to properly finish these ornaments? My ones from Christmas look kind of sad with just a hanging ribbon. I may or may not do that on this particular one, Heather, but because again, I'm not going to actually complete the entire ornament. I may, and again, this is actually going to be going into a wreath as an embellishment, but I may show that maybe in the future. Let's do a green. So, or maybe I can give you some ideas as to how you can finish it off, Heather. That'll be fine. Would that be okay? Dale, this is the first time I've seen these bubbles being made. Um, Dale, actually, this technique is based off of a Japanese style ornament. It's called kimekomi. That's Kimekomi. It's a ancient Japanese technique that in Japan they used to make these decorative balls and give them as gifts. Um, I think on Girls' Day, and these days a lot of creators have kind of modified that to incorporate, just regular ornaments like this. The traditional the traditional ornament that they used to make in Japan, instead of a styrofoam ball like this, it used to be a huge. They used to take rubber bands and just start wrapping it various rubber bands against each other so that you can get a ball shaped like this. And instead of tucking the fabric into that rubber band, they actually kind of sewed the fabrics together and then wrapped it around that rubber band ball. If you ask me, this technique of using the styrofoam and tucking it in, way easier. But yeah, I learned this. I learned the technique actually from my grandmother, who taught me how to do this when I was about 5 years old or so. And she used to make the kimekomi ornaments to sell as a hobby. And of course, right around Girls' Day, which is March 3rd, which now turned into International Women's Day, by the way. Yeah, she used to be busy making those kimekomi ornaments. And she knew I was kind of a crafty kid, so she would always employ my help to make all of those. And that's how I learned. And I never forgot how to make it, so even though as hard as I tried. But these days I can kind of appreciate the fact that Grandma taught me how to do this. Okay, so I've got the green, I'm starting to tuck it in. And from time to time, what will happen is when you tuck one side of the fabric into the seam, you might be pulling out the other side of it. Not to worry, just put it back in. Okay. First time I ever saw one of these, I thought they were sewn. I was super impressed with their sewing precision. Well, now you know, Lorraine. Okay. And I'm going to trim off this excess here. Okay, don't be afraid to, if you need to actually pull out the fabric a little bit, even though after you tucked it in, you can pull it out, remove it, trim off the excess that you don't need here. Just try not to trim too much, but there. And then you can reinsert it back in. And then trim off that excess down there. Ooh. Okay. mom is coming over this afternoon to teach me how to make one of my grandma's recipes. I miss my grandma. She was gone too soon. Oh, sorry to hear that, Heather. Okay, should I do a green on the other side? No, that's the part that's going to get hidden. Okay, I'll put this purple in here. Do-do-do. Okay, and then I will pull this part out and start trimming off this. And then we'll trim off this excess here. Whoa, that piece went flying. Okay. Pull this out a little bit. Yeah, that'll work. There we go. I think I'll just do these three colors. Well, maybe I will add the pink. Kind of looks Mardi Gras-ish, don't you think? Loving these colors. I think I need to go to Hobby Lobby. Now, one other thing I should mention, if you got a lot of these to make and you need to cut up a lot of these different fabric pieces, is of course, like normal, I'm going to mark it here. And let's see, whoops. And instead of cutting each piece out individually, I do still have this fat quarter kind of folded in half. In two, so I can actually cut two of them out at the same time here. So that's what I'm gonna do, and because these don't have to be exact, you know, it's not like we have to, again, this is not like quilting where the cut pieces have to be exact to precision. Because as you saw, these pieces, I mean, I do have extra pieces that I'm cutting off like this. So you can go ahead and actually, it would help to have my rotary blade exposed. But you can go ahead and cut multiple pieces or fold your fabrics and cut, trace the pattern once and then cut multiple pieces out like how I just, or how I am doing now. So now I got two pieces here instead of just one. Well, thank you, Tracy. Okay, so I'm going to put this piece right here. there it is. Oh, okay, so you see how I just pushed in this one side and then untucked the side there. That'll happen from time to time, so just tuck it right back in there. And we'll tuck this one in. And this time I'm actually able to put in the entire fabric. Well, just on the side here, there's a lot of excess coming out, so I'll trim that off. Now, usually at the point here, this is the top and the bottom points there. I'm usually covering it with some kind of embellishment like a bow or a hanger, especially on the top. And if people are looking at the bottom of the ornament, then they're not your friend. I'll say that. But usually you can kind of hide the top with some kind of embellishment, like again, like a bow. So I wouldn't worry so much about how the top of the ornament looks. The bottom may be a different story, but usually I'll put ribbon to kind of hide this hide the seams here, and usually that takes care of the bottom as well. So just try to get the top and the bottom as neat as you can, but it doesn't have to look perfect because it's going to get hidden anyway. Painter's knife, Elizabeth. Did I call it a painter's palette? Maybe it's a painter's palette knife. That's what this tucking thing is. Okay, and I'll do, let's see. I don't want to tuck in that because that was the mistake. And that was the mistake. Let's do, I know I have another yellow here. Cut this one out with the scissors. Do that there. Do the yellow again. Of course, if you want to make a particular pattern, go. I'm just kind of doing random colors on this particular ornament. But if you want to make it into a particular pattern or a certain order of colors, you can go ahead and do so. Got to remember where the camera is. Sorry if I'm going off screen. Okay, and we'll push this in. Let's get that in. Okay, I know this is going to be a lot of excess up here, so I'm going to trim that off. Hey Tiff, good morning. Could you secure a bead with a long hat pin of sorts to the top and bottom? You sure could, Elizabeth. Um, I would just make sure to use some type of glue, like hot glue or Elmer's glue may or may not work, but usually what I'll do is if this, if I were to insert this pin and I want to make sure that the pin doesn't get removed, I would put glue on the actual pin before sticking it in. Okay, this is going to be the back where I'm going to, again, because I'm inserting this into a wreath, an Easter theme wreath, this part is the part that I'm actually going to tuck into the wreath, so you won't see that. Although I might want to actually put, well, since I got it cut up, I'll just put this to cover it, that one last side. Nah, we'll leave it like that. Okay. So there is my ornament. Now the fun part comes, because now we get to embellish it. So I got this cording, I got this ribbon, and I also got this particular ribbon. I think I'm going to use this to make a bow. And yes, Tiffany, this is the one that I stole from you. Well, thanks for stopping by, Lorraine. Okay, so let's put that there. Now what I'm going to do, well, this I'll make the bow that will go on the top. Does that actually match? Let's see. Not that I really... Yeah, it does. Okay. Now, to cover up the seams, sometimes what I like to do is, especially if I didn't cut the seams exactly straight, like this one, there's a little indenture there, a little bit of an imperfection. So usually what I'll do is I'll take a piece of ribbon like this and kind of wrap it right on those seams. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. I don't have my glue, so I'll have to re-glue it later, but I'm going to pin, just put a pin right there on the top just to hold the ribbon down. And I'm going to then take the ribbon, wrap it around right on that seam just to cover it up and to add a little bit of a decorative element. Okay, now instead of cutting it here, because I'm back at where I started from, I just take the pin out and put the ribbon, or overlap the ribbon, put the pin exactly where I put it, or somewhat where I started, and I'll just go right down onto the next one. Cover this seam up. And take this, wrap it all the way around. Again, I'm back at the top, so I will take the ribbon out again, overlap the ribbon to where I started, reinsert the pin there, and go down the next seam. Now, of course, if you're not comfortable doing that, you could cut it there and then start a new ribbon going down the next seam. But why do that when you can just do it continuously? Is what I say. Okay, then hold it, take the pin out, overlap the ribbon there, reinsert it, and then go down the final seam here. Now I can cut the ribbon. Take this out and put pin all of it down. I'm not well versed in the craft department. I was wondering if he will melt the styrofoam. Oh, I believe you're talking if I used hot glue. Hot glue usually doesn't melt the styrofoam. Of course, I'm using kind of a milder or not as hot type of hot glue. But even on the hottest settings, I don't find that hot glue will melt the styrofoam. Now, I do know sometimes instead of using a box cutter like this or an X-Acto knife, I'll use a hot knife instead. That will melt the styrofoam. Which is why, as a beginner making an ornament like this, if you're not used to using a hot knife, I don't recommend using it to cut your grooves out. But since I've been using hot knives for a while now, a lot of times I will actually use a hot knife to just kind of cut the seams, or when I'm cutting the styrofoam. I'll use that hot knife instead of a box cutter like this because it's a lot faster to use that. But again, it takes a lot of practice doing it, and because I kind of figured a lot of you have never made this before, I didn't use that hot knife, and I don't recommend using it as a beginner too. But hot glue, unless the glue is like burning, I've never had a hot glue kind of melt the styrofoam. I guess it's possible, but the glue usually hardens pretty quickly, so I never really had that issue. Okay. Now sometimes instead of ribbon, I do use this cording. I didn't want to use the cording today. Let's see, what else can we do with this? I do want to put a little bit of, or some pins here, but let's use some of these beads with the pins. So I got these string of beads here in the jewelry department at Walmart, or the jewelry making department at Walmart. And I'm not going to use all of them, but I do want to use some of them. So I'm just going to cut this and take some of these off. If I can. Let's see. Oh, it's secured right there, too. That's why. Can I cut it off? I'll just grab that. Snip it there. There it goes. Okay. And I will grab one of these pins. Good morning, Kathleen. And I'll put the stopper on there. Put the bead on. And again, normally I don't have my hot glue gun, but I would be putting some glue onto that portion there. I'm going to put it right where I can still kind of see the equator. I'll put that there. And then I'll grab one of these purple ones. Grab a pin. String that bead on there. And I'll put this one. Okay, so even though the equator line is covered, I can still kind of see through the fabric there. The camera's probably not going to catch it, but I can still kind of see through the fabric where that equator line would be. And so when I put these particular pins on, I'm looking for where that equator line, or I can even kind of feel where that equator line is, and that's where I'm placing these beads here. Let's go with the blue now. Oh no, we already did a blue, so how about this pretty pink? Yep. And I'll put the cap on. And insert it there. Looks a little weird, like an alien spaceship. A colorful alien spaceship. Let's see what other colors can I do? Let's put one, let's use this. Ooh, I like that. Can the camera capture it? Yeah. So I'll take this, put the bead on, and we'll insert it there. And why is it not going in? Okay. Then I'll put a whole, maybe put 3 on the bottom or so. I'll put this orange there. Yeah, that looks a little weird. Well, it's going to go in a wreath anyway. Okay. Now let's shove this to the side for a second. And I'm going to make a ribbon for the top, or a bow for the top. So and I kind of do this in a cheating manner. I'll take a pin, stick it right in the middle there on the edge. And I'll hold the pin with my left hand since I'm right-handed. Oops. And then, let's see, how big of a bow do I want to make it? About, yeah, about there. So each loop, I'll loop it there. Whoops. Okay, so when you make your loop, you sort of want to twist the ribbon. So that it makes a folded loop like that. So what I'm doing is, now this is the, I'll call this the top, and what I'm doing is I'm flipping it over to the bottom, then creating the loop to where I'll put it onto the pin. And your ribbon's going to get all twisted up. Don't worry about that. Just take the ribbon, flip it over to create that twist, then kind of eyeball the size of the loop that you're making and make sure that it's about the same or consistent with the others. Eventually you'll get a shape that is going to come out to a bow. So twist it. And size of the loop can be, oh, that's too big. There we go. And let me just trim to about there. Twist. Whoop. Twist. Attach it back to the pin. Oh, that's a little too big, so make this loop a little smaller. Eventually you kind of come up with this star shape. Then you can keep on going. This is 5, I believe. Yep. Then twist. Keep twisting. Make your star, or make your loop. Get it down in the center. And make a loop. This is sort of a unorthodox kind of quick method of making a bow. There's various techniques that you can actually do. But since I just want to do this one quickly, I'm just doing this technique. Okay. I do about 7 or 8 loops altogether. You can stop at 5, but I like to go a little more. Now, as the more loops you add, the bigger they should be, just to make a full ribbon. Okay, we'll do, I think I got one more that I can do. Okay, not the best looking bow, but there you have it. And then I can put this and tuck this right on the top. Now, if I'm actually making this as a hanging ornament, again, I'm just going to be sticking this into a wreath, so it's not going to be hanging, which is also why I don't need to kind of secure most of these pins down. If this were to be a hanging ornament, this is where I would then put glue on the pin itself. Hot glue, Elmer's glue. E6000 will actually work. That's what I normally use now these days. I'll be sticking that glue onto the middle part of the pin. Then I will stick it into the ornament here. And of course I put the hanger or some kind of ribbon as a hanger on there. That's just to kind of secure it down. because the last thing you want is for this part of your ornament to be coming off and your ornament to fall. So when I do Christmas ornaments, for example, I usually do have my hot glue gun ready to go and just, or I'll get a tube of something like E6000 just to secure this top pin or the hanger onto the ornament itself. Because again, the last thing you want to happen is the pin to come out and the ornament to fall off the tree. And there you have it. Okay, so again, I'm just going to use this ornament as an embellishment to go in, let's see. This is the actual wreath that I made for another friend, the one who didn't want the gnome. I'm gonna stick this ornament somewhere. Probably make another one too, maybe here, because she did say she wanted an ornament. Okay, so this is why I didn't cover the back here, because I'm gonna actually stick some heavy duty floral wire to actually attach it onto the wreath here, or maybe I'll just hot glue it, I don't know. But again, starting to fray there and there, but we'll see how I attach it. And my cute little friend here, who looks like Stitch, doesn't he? Cute. Okay. But that is the ornament. Now, if you're making this for various holidays, it's very easy to kind of change it up. Just change up your embellishments, change up your color scheme. If this were a Christmas ornament, I would be using Christmas colors. If this were something for Mother's Day, which will make a great gift, by the way, you know, just change it to your mom's favorite colors. Whatever holiday you're making this for, just change up the color scheme. You can also change up the type of embellishments that you use. Again, the fabric that I chose when I was making these ornaments last Christmas was this print here. It's kind of Christmassy, but it's also kind of like a Hawaiian print. And since these were being shipped back to my friends in Hawaii, I chose this print, and that's what the fabric that I used instead of these colors there, because it was Christmas and Hawaiian themed. So 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay, but that's our ornament. Hope you guys like that. So that is our live session for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for staying on for almost 2 hours here. Whoops. Okay, my mouse is not reacting for whatever reason. There we go. So thank you, Kim. Thank you, Tiffany. So if I didn't catch you coming in late, I'm sorry, but hello. But we're about to kind of end today. So as I'm thinking and praying for you, Kim, it will come. Silly, but do you take D2 and a little fresh spinach and fruit smoothie. Ooh, that actually sounds good right about now, Kathleen. Sauce. Well, that's it for today, guys. Again, thank you for joining me on this very early live session. I hope you learned something, and I hope that maybe in the future you'll make your own ornament. So, any last minute questions? Thank you for showing the process, Eric. I really enjoyed watching this. You're very welcome, Tracy. Thanks for joining. Thank you for the coffee chat. I lurked. Okay, thanks for joining, Patty. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Well, if there are no questions, oh, thank you, Kathleen. I always wonder who was watching that video. So that's okay. Well, thank you guys for joining me this early Saturday morning. And whoops. And I shall see you guys in the coming days. I do have a video going up on YouTube tomorrow. That'll be week number, oh gosh, what are we on? 35 or 36 of the 52 series. So look forward to that. And if you didn't catch last week's video, we made a block that's similar to what the quilt on the wall is. It's the 3-dude quilt block. So, well, that's it for now, guys. Mwah. Take care. Have a great day and go out and create something.